dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack and flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yup, what's good, Original Crew, man? We're back, baby. We got a new Mr. Ballen. This time, top 5 bingeable scary stories. Which y'all know we're not going to do all 5 because they're just reposts. So, hey, we're going to do the one story that's brand new. And we're going to go from there. Strangest of the Strange Edition. And the reason why, just the insider, reason why we don't do all 5 stories. Say, for instance, it's a story he might input into here that we haven't heard about before. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But also, there might be stories that we're going to be able to react to of his past content. We don't want to, you know? Yeah. So hopefully y'all understand. For those who don't understand, I don't know what to tell you, man. But hey, man, with that being said, before we get into it, make sure you check out the links in the description box.
Down below.
You already know where to go if you want to first support. All you got to do is check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's visuals.
Fucking it with a thumbs up.
But hey, man, let's hop into it. Let's check it out. Let's see what it's about. You ready, see?
I'm ready.
I hit the wrong mouse. I hit the mouse of the other computer. Let's get it. Let's hop into it. Let's check it out. Let's see what it's about. Let go.
Today, we have a special video for you guys. It's a collection of 5 stories, and the very first story you'll hear is a brand new story, and the other 4 are fan favorites that are all a good reminder that sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction. Now, those 4 fan favorites have all been re-edited for today's episode, so even if you've seen or heard them before, this will feel like a new viewing experience. And just a reminder, I'm actually on tour right now. Not literally, because I'm actually filming this in advance, but by the time you hear this, I'm gonna be on tour. And if you wanna follow along and see some behind the scenes footage, make sure you follow my Instagram account. My handle is just Mr. Ballen. But before we get into today's 5 stories, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right place because that's all we do and we upload once a week. So if that's of interest to you, the next time the like button is writing something very important, go up and nudge their elbow. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. Okay, let's get into today's stories. On the evening of January 13th, 2002.
Oh, snap. I'm over here. Hey. We want to let everybody know. Hey, Discord link right now. My bad. I was checking the Discord doing the intro music. Checking the Discord. If you don't know, we do have a Discord available. Link is in the description box. Go check it out. Go join the fun. We having some I want to say intellectual conversation right now. We're just all getting to know each other. The community is growing right now, man. So we just communicating, man. So that was my bad. I checked in because we was actually just in between videos recording. We had a topic we were talking about, man. So sorry, y'all. All right, let me get my pen and paper. And for those who ask questions of what we're writing down, I don't write as much as she does. I think she takes more notes than I do. But just the names, year, dates, and information like that, so we can be able to reflect back on it and not get the wrong information spilled out.
Especially someone's name.
Yeah. Because I've done it in the past and got people mixed up, and I was just like, dang. And I was like, so just that's all it is. It's not that deep. Let's go.
On the evening of January 13th, 2002, a 42-year-old man named Ronald Huff walked in the door of his studio apartment in the city of Newark, Delaware. He had just come back from visiting his grandmother, and now he was feeling really sick. Inside of his apartment, it was blazing hot, but that was by design. That's how he kept the temperature. Ronald took off his coat and threw it over one of the many handmade wooden cages that were strewn about his living room. Then he dragged himself over to his house phone, picked it up, and he called the auto dealership where he worked. When the office manager answered, Ronald told her that he would not be able to come into work the following day because he was feeling so unwell. He hung up the phone and then leaned on the counter for a second, feeling lightheaded. Then suddenly, from behind him, he heard a hiss. Right away, Ronald turned around and walked over to his fridge, and instinctively, he reached out his right hand to open the door. But as soon as he grabbed the handle and squeezed, he felt a shot of pain in his right hand. He had forgotten that his right hand was all bandaged up because it was injured. And so grimacing, Ronald reached out with his left hand and he opened up the fridge that way. Then, after shutting the fridge, he walked over to the kitchen counter and he reached into a jar and he pulled out a whole fistful of live cockroaches. They were about 2 inches long each, and they wriggled around inside of his hand. He threw the cockroaches onto the ground and then watched as they scattered. Now that Ronald's chores were finished, he decided he would just...
Huh? We don't just throw roaches on the ground. I'm thinking, you know what I'm saying? Because don't they do... What bug... what pet, like... They do buy like roaches for they pets.
Is it like
some type of reptile?
I don't know, child. That's the only thing I can think
I
of.
would not do.
Count me out.
Just go lay down, because again, he's feeling horrible. But as he walked across the kitchen towards his bedroom, that dizziness he was feeling earlier came back. And suddenly it was like the whole world was spinning around him and he could barely stay on his feet. He kept trying to walk towards his bedroom, but he just couldn't do it. And eventually he stumbled and began to fall. Ronald lurched sideways and blindly stumbled to the right, trying to catch himself. And the first thing he touched with his outstretched arm was the door to his apartment. And so he grabbed it and he tried to stay on his feet, but he couldn't. And so he turned his body around and pressed his back up against the door to steady himself. But he was just so woozy and weak that eventually he just kind of slouched down to the ground, back against the door, feet out in front of him. Slowly, he let his eyes close. As Ronald passed out, all he could hear were the sounds of roaches scurrying and chicken bones crunching. 3 days later, Ronald's neighbor heard the crackle of police walkie-talkies out in the hallway. He opened his door and he saw 2 police officers and the superintendent of their building standing in front of Ronald's door. So this neighbor liked Ronald and knew him to be a nice, quiet guy, and so he couldn't imagine why police would be at his door. But then he thought about it, and he actually hadn't seen Ronald in several days. The neighbor watched as the police officers knocked on Ronald's door, waiting for Ronald to come out, but the door never opened. And after a few minutes of knocking, the police finally stepped back from the door and gestured for the superintendent to step forward and use his key to open the door. And then after the superintendent had done that, the neighbor watched as the police officers tried to open the door, but couldn't. It was like there was something really heavy blocking the door from opening. Finally, both police officers leaned hard enough on the door that they got it to open up just a little bit. The neighbor watched as the officers stuck their heads into the apartment and then jumped back with their hands on their guns. Then one of the cops grabbed their radio and began frantically talking into it, and then the neighbor watched as the officers and the superintendent quickly walked down the hallway out of sight, leaving Ronald's apartment door partially open. And as the neighbor heard the sound of sirens wailing outside, he took a cautious step into the hallway and realized he could actually see into Ronald's apartment through the open door. And what he saw inside of there was so horrifying that for a second, the neighbor just froze. And then a second later, he backed into his own apartment and slammed the door behind him. Hours later, this neighbor could not get the image of what he had seen in Ronald's apartment out of his head. So he grabbed a piece of paper and just began sketching the bizarre scene. It would turn out Ronald had a secret. And on the evening of January 13th, 2002, right after Ronald had called in sick to his work, that secret killed him. Here is the picture that the neighbor drew of what he saw inside of Ronald's apartment. On the floor is Ronald's dead body. His face, his ears, his hands, and his internal organs had all been eaten. And surrounding Ronald were the giant monitor lizards that he was secretly keeping as pets. He had 7 of them, which he fed roaches and raw chicken and allowed to just free roam his apartment. They ranged in size from 2 feet to 6 feet long.
Whoa, 2 feet to 6. Hell no. And then, bro, because that's why he just threw the roaches. Yeah, because they roam free. Yeah,
I would have. Child.
And it kind of gives them a chase to kind of, I guess, similar to being in the wilderness.
Yeah,
like they actually gotta keep them.
Yeah. And he has 7 of them.
And they some big ass.
2 to 6. Come on, that's
Bro.
Long. These are massive lizards. And unfortunately for Ronald, not only are monitor lizards carnivores, but also their mouths are filled with deadly bacteria. The reason Ronald's hand was bandaged up, his right hand, is because one of his lizards, a week prior to his death, had bit his hand, and the bacteria had given him this horrible staph infection. And it was that staph infection, a week later, that very likely caused him to pass out inside of his apartment. And then after that, he was eaten by the lizards. Now, it's assumed he died from the staph infection and then was consumed. However, the autopsy couldn't prove that. And so it is possible he may have been still alive when they began to eat him. After Robert's death, his lizards were taken from his apartment and placed in the Catoctin Wildlife Preserve and Zoo in Thurmont, Maryland.
But I guess that's the end of the story. But they've had human flesh. No. That's not. Oh my! And just imagine now they finna go and be around.
I wonder why, like, he just didn't go to the hospital to get
because he had to report, and with him having to report it, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I don't necessarily have to be I have 7 of them staying in my house, whatever the case may be. But I can just say that I got bit by something, and I think it may be an infection. Then they'll determine, they'll treat it, whatever. I don't.
But a lot of times in those situations, they like for you to report, hey, it was a right? Mm-hmm. I got bit by a lizard. Oh, where did you get bit by a lizard?
And I could say that I have a pet lizard, and my lizard bit me.
But they'll want to put the lizard down.
Would they?
Yeah. Also, he was in Maryland. Is it legal to have those type of lizards?
Well, he was
right, Maryland.
Well, he was in Delaware.
Delaware. But
the lizards got rehomed.
Yeah.
And
so technically, is it legal for him to have them in Delaware? Those type of lizards.
Yeah, the particular type. Yeah, I guess.
Cause those can be illegal.
Well, I guess not. I guess it is because he kept it such a secret. I guess and didn't really I
had so many.
Why would you? My goodness, rest in peace to Ronald.
Yeah, RP to Ronald.
My gosh.
Man,
that's a bad way to go out, though. Especially if he was still alive at the time when they. Because
he could have just passed out and actually just been asleep, but or passed out from the womb.
Yeah.
Being going at his body, and he could have still been able to say, for instance, they came and found him like that, but able to save him.
Yeah.
But
you got to understand, this was days. Days went by. They're not eating. They got to consume something. So,
and unfortunately, they chose.
That's sad.
Yeah, that's sad, man.
That's horrible. Rest in peace to Ronald, though.
Fast, man. Y'all spam us up in the comments, man, for us. I know it's a quick one. Again, we tried to let everyone know, hey, we don't, just in case it's a story in there that we're going to eventually cover anyways, or if it's some stories that we already heard before, we don't want to double give y'all,
And best wishes to the neighbor too,
because that's disturbing.
Even saying that some people he shouldn't have been, shouldn't been.
He had a good relationship with.
He had a good relationship. He normally seen him.
So
and hadn't seen
what's
him.
going on?
Concerned. He was a concerned neighbor. So yeah, because I understand not being able to get that image out of your head, that's traumatizing.
Fast, man.
Yeah.
But y'all spam us up, man. Y'all let us know y'all thoughts about it for us in the comment section down below.
Do.
But until next time. Y'all know how it go, man. I do go by the damn DJ New Kid. This is.
We are.
We are.
Go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack and flip for my foes. Dollar, 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 dollar.